Joining me now, MSNBC political analyst and Huffington Post reporter Alex Wagner. Alex, the Democratic spin is out there. Just like when Scott Brown won that Senate seat, Teddy Kennedy's Senate seat in Massachusetts, the Democratic spin, including from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, was, oh, the Democratic candidate was weak, and it wasn't. Right. It wasn't. Scott Brown is a message that we are in serious trouble in the upcoming election, which it turned out to be. Right.
Well, on some level, you could understand they don't want to say, hey, we really messed up. This is a big defeat, and it's a big problem.
Oh, why not? Come on.
No, no,
that's a good point. They have to spin. That's their job.
Right? And what I've heard from certain congressional aides is, look, behind the scenes, they know that this is a big deal, and they know it's a wake-up call. The alarm bell is ringing, and on a certain level, thank God it's 14 months before the election. I think you have two things going on here. One are the Democratic voters who are using this as a message delivery system. President Obama, we are not happy with the economy.
Can anyone understand this as a message delivery system? I'm unhappy with the liberal Democrat who I voted for, so I'm going to vote for Jerry Springer's producer.
Well, yeah, it is counterintuitive, but I think they were in the back of their minds to a certain degree. It was, we kind of have a free pass on this. The seat's going to get redistricted out of existence in 2012. He's only going to be in power for a year if the stakes aren't that high. But the other thing compounding this, Lawrence, is those that stayed home. And I think that's another serious problem for the White House. If there is a considerable amount of the base that is just not going to the polls on Election Day in 2012, that's a big problem for President Obama, as much as a fired-up conservative basis.
Look, I am very New York-centric tonight in this news because I learned my politics in New York politics, and the only political campaigns I've worked on were in New York State politics. So this shocks me to the core that they could, Staten Island is the unique piece of New York City that always votes Republican, mostly votes Republican because it's an island unto itself. It's a separate world, but
it is.
But not there. And so what I'm starting to wonder is, does this indicate that the Democratic president, in running for re-election, might actually have to campaign in New York? New York's a very expensive state that never costs the Democrats anything. They never have to buy New York TV time. Right. I mean, might he actually have to spend some money here and some time?
I don't think he can take anything for granted. This is, in the same way that Massachusetts, Ted Kennedy's seat went to Scott Brown. Right. This is a seat that hasn't been Democratic in almost a century. So if you're the Obama campaign, you're looking at every state.
There's a Bloomberg poll out today that it has all sorts of troubles in here. It shows that 46% of independents say they definitely will not vote to re-elect President Obama. He's got some time to change that. But when they say I'm definitely going to do something, it scares people. Only 21% say they definitely will vote for the president, and those are the people who are going to end up deciding the outcome here. 62% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the economy. Only 33% approve. The president's job approval rating in this poll is 45%. That's the lowest of his presidency in that poll. The numbers here, though, that help the president are that more people trust him.
Right.
On the economy than trust these Republicans. How do you take that information and turn it into a campaign?
Well, I mean, it's a defensive strategy to a certain degree. Look, it's like the GOP, the Republican field is hugely unsettled. There's a real dissatisfaction with the candidates that are out there. 1 week it's Perry, 1 week it's Romney. It looks like it's back up on Romney again. The administration is going to play hardball with that's good for them. But at the end of the day, you've got to be proposing something to the American electorate. And I think that's a real challenge. And in terms of getting people out to the polls, he's got to offer a vision for the next 4 years. And it can't just be, I won't do what the Republicans will do. It's got to be something proactive, and it's got to move the ball forward. And I think that's the big challenge going into 2012.
Alex Wagner of the Huffington Post and MSNBC, thank you very much for joining us tonight.